Peps here, it's J-Dog, and you know what that means. It's lace-out time. The number one AFL podcast, not affiliated with any club, just full on for everybody to love, because it's a podcast by the people, for the people. Once again, for the people who haven't heard about us before, I'm Chris Pepper, the 377-game superstar of the East Killer Football Club and the co-host with the most. It's Jamie Wallis. We know him as the J-Dog. And I tell you what, mate, round 6, can I say I'm a very happy camper for very obvious reasons, but it was a cracking round of football. But more importantly, it's cracking to have you here on Tuesday night to do this awesome show with me. How are you, big fella?
I am very well, Peps. In fact, I've got a bit of a headache tonight. And I wonder if you're the same. We're in thin air where we are.
Oh, it is. I'm starting to turn into a little bit of Sir Edmund Hillary at the moment. Getting a little bit thin on top of the table, getting towards the peak of Everest. It's lonely. I'm not used to it. I could only feel that for the people who go altitude training, this is what it's like.
Yeah, and seeing your team win every week can sometimes get boring, do you think?
Look, to be honest, mate, I'm over it already.
Thought so. I'm
6 wins. 6 wins. I wouldn't mind a loss. It's the loss that we have to have. I don't know when it's going to come, to be honest. I can't see it happening in the next... if I accurately predict, I can't see it happening in the next 12 weeks.
Yeah.
We could be 18-0.
I actually envy the clubs like North and Collingwood, because being so good is a burden.
Losses make clubs humbling, and our club's Melbourne and Port Adelaide. We don't know what losing is all about. It's been a long time since we've lost a game.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
We've won 8 in a row. 8 in a row we're at the moment. We have not lost that loving feeling. That loving feeling.
No. All right, Peps. Let's get into
All right,
tonight's show.
let's take this seriously. Hey, can I just say something? For everybody who's listening to us for the first time tonight, welcome to Lace Out. We're just a football podcast that just loves who we are. And we've got our Lace Out merch. Look at the Lace Out shirts. Look at that. Beautiful Lace Out shirts. Couple of tweaks coming in, but if you're online now and you want one, I'll tell you where to get those later on in the show. But if you've joined us for the first time, welcome. For our loyal community, we can't do this show without you, so thank you very much for tuning in. Big news of the round, mate. Lots going on.
Heaps.
Where do you want to start? You're the man with the run sheet.
Let's
get it going. Round 6.
Well, do you want to start with around the grounds, or do you want to do spin the magnets first? You choose.
Oh, mate, let's go around the grounds. Let's go around the grounds, because I like to talk about the big hitting stories so far. Tell us what's on.
I love it. Look, what a round. ANZAC round. It is a pretty amazing round. To think that it was only a few years ago that it was reserved for the Collingwood Essendon game. But it's great to see all of the clubs getting involved and doing something for it. They've all got their own medals. For Port Adelaide, it's a Peter Badcombe level. Every other round now has their own respects to the ANZAC, which is fantastic. But I want to single out 2 games in particular, Peps, and it really is the epitome of probably the whole ANZAC weekend, is the Collingwood Essendon match. And I want to talk about the Richmond Melbourne match, just high level. I don't want to go into depth about it because that's not what we're all about. But first off, I must say, I watched both games. I really enjoyed the pre-show to the Richmond Melbourne one probably a bit more. I think the nighttime adds something.
You know what, J-Dog? Look, I was there with my daughter. Maya and I went to the game. Cracking seats. I think like 12 rows from the front, right on the wing.
Yeah.
Cracking seats. Unfortunately, we got caught in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only bad part about it. Now, I'm not for a nighttime grand final.
Okay.
But then I sit there and I was at the game, no lights on. People just got their phone lights switched because they asked to do that. It is just silence for that minute. Silence. The New Zealand national anthem gets sung, which was like haunting. Just how beautiful that was.
Yep.
The Australian one, you go into the Raw.
Yeah.
When I see nights like that, I can understand why the nighttime grand final is something that we should maybe have a look at.
The flame up on the up on the thing there.
We do it better than anybody.
Yeah. It was very good.
Yeah, and I think that game, I know it started on the ANZAC day, but that nighttime game is becoming special in its own way. And mate, that if you haven't been to a nighttime, the ANZAC Eve, get to one. You got two cracking teams, well, they were this year, and then it follows on to the next day, and they're special for their own different ways. And I think that's the good thing about it is that every club does it so well. And I think we have a few too many themed rounds for the sake of themed rounds. I really do think we get the ANZAC right. Awesome.
Yep. I thought it was great. And then to parlay that into the Collingwood Essendon game, really good for 3/4 of the game. I thought once again that the pre-show ceremony, all that stuff is really well done. It's traditional. The ground is packed. In non-COVID times, it is as big as the grand final in terms of attendance. So Peps, out of that, let's talk about the Collingwood fallout from their loss, because it's been a big week for the Collingwood Football Club. They've had quite a bit of news on their front. They've had their new president was announced and who he is, and then there's been some interesting comments from that. So Peps, for those who don't know and catching up, who is the new Collingwood president?
Peter Korda, the tennis player from Czechoslovakia. That's who it is, isn't it? Peter Korda?
Peter Korda, yeah, it is. It's definitely him.
Okay. All right. No, it's not Peter Korda. It's Mark Korda. Apparently he's been on the board for a while.
Yep.
And look,
an insolvency accountant.
He's an accountant?
Insolvency accountant.
Okay, cool. Insolvency accountant for Collingwood.
Yep.
A team that is sitting 1-5 at the moment. Couldn't ask for a better guy to be running the show. Look, you gotta always say, get a ticket to Mark Neal's reality bus, Mr. Korda, because he still thinks his club can play finals. That's probably not going to happen.
Can you imagine the pressure not only on Nathan Buckley this year, but then to have the president come out and say that when your team is 1-5, like you're effectively throwing the coach under the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if he fails that, if Buckley doesn't get the team to the finals.
You know what, J-Dog, this is the thing, right? We've spoken about Collingwood so much this year.
We have.
Right? And you know what? There's 17 other teams. I wouldn't mind spending some time on them. So we're going to get through this one pretty quickly. Look, they played all right on the weekend. It wasn't a bad game to watch. Mind you, you're probably going to get that with two mediocre teams. And by the way, Essendon, I'll give credit where credit's due. You ripped it on the weekend. Loved what you brought to the game. Collingwood have got that many players out at the moment, so that's going to make it difficult for them.
Yeah,
they stuffed up trade week. We've gone on about that one. They've also just completely lied to their supporter base for the whole reasons why those players were out. They just it's fake news coming out of Collingwood. It's fake news. Anything that they say, it's fake news. You can't believe a word that comes out of it. If it's got to come down to this, they're not going to make finals, so you've got a choice. You either get rid of Buckley now and bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. Or you sign him up and say, mate, we back you in for the rebuild.
Yeah.
Because you can't go to halfway land. Too many clubs have done halfway land, and there's a club at the bottom of the ladder called North Melbourne who were in the middle of the ladder for goodness knows how many years.
Yeah.
And look where it's got them. They finally did the clean out. Collingwood need a clean out. The problem is the ones that they've cleaned out were the ones who would have made a difference, and they've kept the wrong people.
Correct. Yeah, they've had some players go. Side bottom on the weekend just looked like he's gone on a year too long. Completely off the ball. Hasn't really touched the pig in a couple of weeks, or sorry, in a year so far.
Ever since he had Couchgate, ever since he had that issue on the couch and that big bender, he hasn't done anything since. But basketball background is still their best player. That's what's scary. I must admit, I do like the Browns. I do like Dacos, Darcy Moore, even though, like I keep saying it every single week, is Kira Knightley's stunt double. The boy can play.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating. And, I've got good old mystery Palmer himself, Filippo Brancatasano's just jumped in. The best thing to come out of Collingwood, Treloar. Can you pick who's the doggy supporter on the cast? Yeah, they're just they're in no man's land, and they've either got to say we're going to clean out and go back to the draft because they haven't been in the draft for a while.
A proper clean out.
A proper clean out, not a forced clean out like you did last year. A proper, listen, your time's out.
Yeah, Peps, I don't know how much you're across this. I am not this year as much with the whole COVID and last year's seasons not playing. They may need to do what a Hawthorn did and just literally put their best player on the table to try and get into the draft really, really, really early.
Okay, here's the question. Who is their best player? Who's the best player they've got with currency?
Well, who's got value? You look at players of value. De Goey. I mean,
what would you get for De Goey? What would you get for De Goey? Come on, listeners listening to this right now or reading,
you may get someone like a North Melbourne who might chuck something high at you.
Like what?
Well, they're not going to chuck number one. You've got to put together a pretty amazing package.
Not one.
Well, they're getting one.
No, but is he worth one?
Oh shit, no.
No. 1 first round draft pick, not number one. You putz.
Oh, sorry, you weren't clear. You weren't clear with your question, Peps. He's probably worth.
Everybody on the chat got it.
He probably is worth a first round to the right club, probably.
Which club would that be? Frankston Amateurs? De Blowy, the poor man Barker.
But then we said the same thing about Stevenson and Treloar. And look what they've gone on to do. Yeah,
but they didn't pay first rounders for either of those two.
Yeah.
They're shocking.
Right? I don't know. Yeah. They might need to put, I don't know. I just think for them, if they're going to do a rebuild, they need to probably do it good. You chuck a Hail Mary in there.
Well, they're going to have to do something because side bottom, no one's going to buy a side bottom. No one's going to, more they won't get rid of, but he's probably the only one with currency. They're going to get, hang on, I'm going to get Dacos.
I'm just reading the comment here from Thomas Rocker. Is that really true? Collingwood don't have enough points to even match the top bid for Nick Dacos? Jesus.
I think what Tommy's saying is, though, that the first round from now on's protected.
Okay.
So that whole thing doesn't happen in that first.
That would be incredible. That would be incredible.
Jeez, I'd laugh if that happened.
Far out.
Imagine, and you know who I'd love for them to take him?
Who?
Western Bulldogs. Just keep bringing them our way, boys. Just keep bringing them our boys.
Oh,
look, I must admit, I've grown to like Buckley. I must admit, I actually feel for the bloke. And he's in a bad spot, and I don't think a perfect example is my group, Melbourne. Look at what we served up last year, and this year's completely different. If you haven't got a fit contingent, it's not going to work. I don't care who your coach is, mate.
No, I suppose look at 2018 Collingwood. You got him to a grand final, so it's
exactly.
He can
coach. He can coach. He just doesn't have anything. Yeah, exactly.
But Peps, as they always say, Collingwood made their bed. Now they have to lie in it.
Yes, they did make their bed. Yep.
Unfortunately. Talk about culture, though, bringing in someone from inside the Collingwood club on such a proud day, bringing in someone from inside those four walls anyway.
Yep.
Proud.
Proud.
What a way to move forward.
Yep. Four walls.
All right.
So only four walls we used to are the 6x3s at Pentridge. All right. Hey, did you know about what happened on with West Coast? Tell us about the West Coast demolition, because that was brutal but funny at the same time.
Yeah, West Coast. Look, I can't make a comment on a particular player. I'll leave that up to you because I promised that I wouldn't. But there were instances all over the ground where West Coast were just outworked or just looked downright disinterested. So West Coast went down to the Cattery and they got demoralised by 97 points by the Cats. Adam Simpson, the coach, did not hold back and he labelled the performance as embarrassing. After starting quite well, leading by 5 points at quarter time, Essendon conceded 13 straight goals and were comprehensively outplayed all over the ground. Adam Simpson said, "We got annihilated in every aspect of the game, which is really disappointing, and it was an embarrassing performance after quarter time." And then he went to say, "You get what you deserve in a game, really."
Yeah.
I liked it. He literally rolled up to the press conference and he just was like, I can't say anything to salvage anything out of this.
You know, the last time I heard a coach bag out a team like that, remember when Blight came out and said, and that Ruckman I think it was Pittman. That was a most pitiful effort that I've seen.
For his family, whatever it was, yeah.
For his family. I'm like, okay, he went a bit hard. I think they even won that game from memory. But all I can say is that it's good to actually have a coach come out and say it was awful. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Don't be too worried about that, Adam, because what was it, 97 points? Is that right? Yeah. If you double that, it's almost 186. That's what we lost by down at Cardinia Park. I think the boots started kicked 4 against the D's that game.
Yeah.
I remember, if you have a chance, people, one of the first interviews we did was Jack Fitzpatrick, and he's got a cracking story of the day that Melbourne lost by 186 to Geelong. So go back in the archives, go to the Chat With series, look for Jack Fitzpatrick. I think it's episode 2, that interview part 2, where he talks about he wasn't even at the game, and he was just wanting to see how high the score would get. Yeah. He was embarrassed. But you know what? I didn't see that coming from Geelong. But mind you, I didn't even see the big 65 Boonana barrel from Mitchy Duncan. We need more barrels, mate.
Bring it back.
There's only 3 good things barrels are for, my friend. Bourbon, wine, and from 65 plus out.
Did you see the game after quarter time, Peps, or you sort of what were you doing on Saturday?
Saturday. What was I doing Saturday? Went to the footy, mowed a lawn, half a lawn. I think I did some stuff around the house and then went to the footy.
Oh, you're a good man. Look, it was, you know how we talked about the Saints and their lack of effort, and we've spoken about that a couple of weeks now. Is Buzz on tonight? I'm just checking the list of people who are on.
No, I don't know where Buzz is. I actually saw Buzz at the shops the other week.
Oh, did you?
Don't be too hard on St Kilda. I said I won't be.
Yeah.
This week I will be. Oh.
So we've spoken about Carlton. We've spoken about St Kilda. The media have done all that as well. West Coast was as worst as performance that I've seen since the 2007 grand final.
We'll get into that later, Joel. Look, which player were you going to talk about, mate?
No, I'm not talking about this player. You can mention the player's name, though.
Can you give me the initials?
No.
Double N?
Yeah.
Nick Nat?
I don't know. Could be. Maybe.
If it's Nick Nat, how he keeps getting put in the conversation as one of the league's best ruckmen, mate, you are a farce. You tap it out, you ruck, that's all you do. You tackle, that's it. You want to see what a real ruckman is? Go and have a look at Max Gawn at the moment and what he's doing. He's tearing on bowlers apart. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do more around it. You don't do anything around the ground. It's almost like, it's not my job. It's not my job. Everybody's worked with, it's not my job. It's not my job. As soon as he rucks out, he doesn't take marks. How does a guy who jumps like that not take marks around the ground? It's a disgrace. He's taken 5 marks this year. Joel Michael, what a stat. 5 marks for the year. I think Max took 5 contested in the game last week. Come on. Really?
Hey, look, you know what? With Nick Nat, we don't know what we're going to get with Nick Nat, but we know
I know what we're going to. I know what we're not going to get. Marks around the ground.
We know what Jack Watts likes, and he was we know what Melbourne chose. But I
know. And we were smart. We went with the one who actually did something. Just remember, he's loving it at the moment, Jack Watts.
He's loving it. That's right. You got a bit of a cold there, Peps.
Yeah, just got a bit of Jack Watts. Oh, shut up. I actually had hay fever.
No, but Peps, that is 100% true. When he first was here, we thought this is a ruckman we've never seen before. Leaps, jumps, tackles, extra person in the midfield, and now it's just leaps.
Leaps, jumps, tackles.
And that's it.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, brings the ball to a gesture.
And he can dunk at Perth Wildcat games too.
Hey, he's a good kick with Ben Cousins. See that little special?
Oh, that was beautiful, man. That was like
beautiful.
Okay. Hey, now Can I bring one of our fan favourites back? There's a segment that I haven't run for so many years, and I'm bringing it back for the first time tonight because I saw something on the weekend. I haven't run this past you, and it's something that we haven't rolled out for a while. So For the people who have joined us for the first time this year, thinking, what's Pep's going on about? Well, I'll tell you in a moment, but I want to cook up a storm. And it's time for me to head in the kitchen because I have warmed up the grill and we're about to get this bad boy out, everybody. We are about to get the fry pan back out again. The fry pan is out because I want to have a crack at the umpires right now. And I don't have a crack at the whole umpiring fraternity because we know that umpires at the moment are struggling across leagues, local leagues at the moment. Numbers are down. It's not the easiest job, getting abused by people left, right and centre and having to wear fluoro green for not a lot of money. But I saw some umpiring on the weekend at the Melbourne-Richmond game, which we're going to have a small chat about shortly. And everybody who was at that game, who was sitting around me at the time, saw some decisions that make you absolutely realise umpires have no feel for the game. There was 3 situations where the ball was given out of bounds deliberately, so deliberate out of bounds, where one was you could classify as a smother, where a bloke slid on his stomach to smother the ball after being and kicked it. Mr. Rivers went out of bounds. There was another one where Mr. Baker slid across the boundary line and sort of gave it a bit of a tap, or Mr. Short, sorry. That was a bit of a dodgy one. There was another one later on in the ground. I can't remember who it was, but the same sort of thing. Just sort of gave it a bit of a tap out and gave it out of bounds as well. Mm-hmm. But there was one in the third quarter where Melbourne were having a bit of a run on. Yeah. Where I think it might have been Michael Hibberd in the back line, kicks the ball off the ground, doesn't handball, doesn't touch it at all, just kicks the ball off the ground, flies about 35 metres and skids out of bounds, and the umpire has the gall to call it deliberate out of bounds. It was a wet night. It was greasy underfoot, and they have got no common sense at all, and it's ruining the game, and it's almost Peter robbing Paul here because you don't want us to bag umpires, but then they pull stuff out like that. And the issue was is they paid the first one against Trent Rivers, and then after that it was just like, we have to pay every single one here. But umpires, we know you struggle every week, but can you just use some common sense? If it's wet, the ball is going to skid. If a guy's kicking it off in the middle of the pack off the ground, it's going to skid. Just think about it a bit, please. I don't want to bring you out into the fry pan, but I had to tonight because it just fired me up big time, and it fired everybody up at the game. So it's just time for you to lift. And yeah, just
hey, you know what?
Don't do it again.
Peps, I hear you, but I want to say this. Being a backman now in the AFL is one of the hardest jobs you've got on the ground now. You have got no option.
Oh, you can't. So I was having a look at this as well, just over the number of games. So when we were growing up, can we do a double fry pan like they've come back for seconds?
Sure.
There we go. They're coming back for seconds on the fry pan now. When you were a backman growing up as a kid, you were told a number of things. You were told boundary's your best friend. Mm-hmm. Chop the arms. Punch the ball. If in doubt, go for the boundary. All these type of tips and rules.
Crush the skull.
Crack the skull. Here's the other one that you were told. Rush the ball over the line. Restart. You can't do any of that now. You cannot rush the ball. You cannot take the ball over the boundary line. You can't even kick it 40 metres down the line and let it roll out because that's deliberate, regardless if I booted it 40 metres down.
Yeah.
They've changed the rules so much to make it so forward-centric. Players are saying, like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Give me an answer of what I can do. And that's what disappoints me when that wasn't questioned. Why were these given? Why were these decisions given? What do I have to do differently?
Yeah.
Because you're making it easier for forwards. If a forward does the exact same motion, kicks the ball, it rolls out of bounds next to their point post, they're going to say throw it back in. So why is it the backman that has to? Because doesn't the line go all the way around the oval?
Well, it's one of those things, like especially when players when the transition's too fast and they've got an open forward 50, the forwards just bomb the ball in and hope it'll either go roll out of bounds or hit the point post or something to get a stoppage and a restart in the forward 50. Why isn't that deliberate?
Oh, you know what? If my mate Stavros Makalalis was here, he'd say that's bullshit, mate. That's what he would say. He goes, that's bullshit. Because it is bullshit. He's Greek. But it's bullshit.
Dear
Mum
Peps,
makes a good buck lover, I must say. But like, I got a couple of people in the chat at the moment saying that, between the arcs, it should be a throw in. I don't think it should be a throw in. Like, don't give me this last kick out of bounds, but that's what it's turning into.
No, do you know
don't
what,
add another umpire on because, Craig, I don't know if you were with me 5 minutes ago. I've just sprayed them because they're making stupid decisions. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And don't even bring the video umpire. I mean, how are you supposed to video umpire going to have a round? Anthony Tippum Woody was getting his third pie and his sixth mid-strength beer when he picked up that ball on Anzac Day. You haven't seen the footage. It was a ripper.
Yeah. Hey, look, I do. Actually, I do want to bring
that was worse than Wayne Harms.
In our chat, Tommy's come up there. Take the interpretation out of it. Adopt the rule these in AFLW. If it goes out by foot, free kick.
Yeah, are there different rules for AFLW and AFL men's?
I did think about that. The problem is it's too harsh of a penalty. It's too harsh of a penalty. A kick in is too harsh. In soccer, they play that same sort of similar rule, not whatever it's going to go out, but they have a throw in. Maybe we have to have a handball in, Peps. I don't know. I don't know what the rule should be.
No, you were going all right until you said handball in.
Well, I just don't. Well, I think
how are you going to do that with 666?
Well, I think a kick is too. We talk about the moving off the mark being too much of a penalty of 50 metres. I think giving someone a kick, if the ball rolls out.
But Jamie, they get that anyway.
But he's saying only take the interpretation out. Take it
out. No, you just got to use your common sense a bit more.
I don't know the solution, Peps. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to.
Let's not worry about it because you know what?
It's a podcast. So much, we can ramble about it.
There's freaking great games on the weekend. Can we start talking about those? Can we talk about some of the great games?
Well, I want to keep you on the umpires for 2 seconds.
All right, go
just because I love this one. I love this one.
Oh, this was a ripper.
Because I think as supporters of football, we've all thought about doing this, which I absolutely love. Jason McCartney from GWS has.
Everybody loves Jay McCartney after obviously everything that you went through. One of the best ways to ever finish your career, what he did. Correct. Jump on YouTube, check out the footage. It's a ripper.
I love the fact that he went into the umpire's room because at halftime he felt like the GWS were getting a bit of a rough end of the stick, and then gave the umpires a bit of a rev up. So he's been fined $20,000 by the AFL because of his little halftime spray to the umpires in the room. What I will say though is it did absolutely square up the ledger a bit for him. So is 20 grand worth it? Perhaps.
No. Should have been more. And can I ask a question? What did DeGuy and Howe get the week before? Was that 20 grand as well?
Mobile phones, yeah. Not them, the club.
The club. Okay, so what was worse? What McCartney did, or what?
I don't know. I kind of love McCartney. And Howe. I kind of like McCartney. I'm happy to ride this.
No. I know he got off lightly, but. Do you see what I'm saying there? They've given the exact same fine out. One's worse than the other.
No, I don't know. I haven't really thought about one being worse than the other.
The Collingwood one is so much worse.
Potentially.
No, potentially. But they're trying to...
Also, the other one could be the one.
Well, yeah, that's pathetic.
You go into a room and start punching on the umpire. Yes.
True. As long as you don't give a 50 away, it's all right. All right. And as long as you stand when you're throwing your punches and you don't move off the mark, it's okay. Stand. All right. Hey, buddy, you know what we need to do right now? We need to spin these magnets. It's magnet time.
It's magnet time.
It's magnet time.
Cool.
Okay, so for the people who don't know, who haven't heard this before, it's time to spin the magnets. This is where Jamie and I give our 3 votes for the best performances in our eyes for the week. And we also figure out who's going to get dragged for pretty much the worst performances of the weekend as well too. So where would you like to start? Would you like to start with Andrew, or would you like to start with Barras today, mate?
I want to start with Andrew.
Andrew? Oh, well, that means simply this.
3 votes.
3 votes. All right.
Love it.
3 votes, buddy. Who are you going to go with?
All right, number 1 for I'm going players. I'm going to single out players this week.
Go for it.
I'm going to go Riley Thorpe.
How good was this boy?
An amazing debut. 5 goals on debut. Not quite a Treaders, but pretty close. 5 marks, 5 goals, and on debut and number 2 pick for Adelaide. So
would you say 5 what? 5 marks?
5 marks, 5 goals.
So this guy's played his first game of the year and taken just the same amount of marks that Nick Nat has taken in 6 rounds.
I knew you were going to call back to that. I saw it. I like it. All right, number 2, Peps. One of the most underrated players in the AFL, I feel, and especially on the weekend, it probably just highlighted it even more. And that, my friend, goes to the headband-wearing centerman for the Melbourne Demons. The amount of times I saw this player take the ball away from the halfback line, run it through the centre. Ed Langdon, you are my number 2. You are so underrated.
Mate, don't start me on it. He wears a long sleeve, so he's already in my book, right? Why do all quick players in AFL footy, full stop, local leagues, AFL leagues wear long sleeves? Let me go through some of the names. Hunt. Langdon. Toby Green. Chris Pepper. I wore a long sleeve. I loved the long sleeve.
Look,
fastest bloke in the EDFL at one stage.
Underrated. I mean, on the weekend had a great game.
He's just...
32 disposal, 13 kicks, 19 handballs, 5 marks.
What was his disposal efficiency?
It was pretty high. I didn't see him. No, I didn't have it.
But the reason why I say that is if anybody knows Ed Langdon, one of the things that he wasn't very good at doing was actually hitting targets. He could get it.
Yep.
Since Mark Williams has come to the club, and he's actually said he's transformed him. They had an interview with him last week, and he said he's transformed him as a player, and he's hitting targets now. He's just, mate, he's racking up. He's an all-Australian wingman if they decide to put a wingman on and not just put a forward into the wingman slot. He's smashing it at the moment. So that's a cracking pick, mate. Well done.
I just loved what he's bringing to it, and it's definitely 2021 so far for him has been an amazing year as we go on. All right, my number 3, and it is going to be a little bit biased here, but I'm going to go for Port Adelaide boy, Category B rookie, part of Port Adelaide's Next Gen Academy, and that is Marty Flash Fredericks.
Who?
Come on, Peps. Come on. Port Adelaide, Category B rookie, and debuted for Port on the weekend against St Kilda. Something like 26 disposals, a few marks, tackles, handballs. It was pretty bloody decent. And it's quick as lightning and was prepared to take the game on. You know how sometimes as rookies they can be half a step off and get caught with the ball often or get caught ball watching or just seem to look about a game or two out of the pace of AFL.
Yep.
He came straight in and looked very, 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 very settled. And all those players in the Port Adelaide injury room at the moment would be getting a little bit nervous because whoever comes and plays for Port Adelaide at the moment, the rookies or whoever's coming up, are bloody making it hard for their spots.
It seems to be happening with all the good teams at the moment. There's players who can't get in, so it makes it tough around the block. Hey, by the way, just to throw it out here, we've got the guys from the Portraits podcast on at the moment. We've got the guys from the Purple Rain in Perth on the podcast at the moment. We've got Tommy Roker from up north. He's on there as well too. We've got the AFL podcasting community. It's going nuts. The chat's going nuts tonight. It's sensational. And by the way, Buzz is on there as well too. So Buzz, you might want to hold on for a second because we're about to give 3 votes.
Thank you, Port boys. 26 disposals and 90% disposal efficiency. Bloody amazing. So well done. That's my 3.
That's your 3 votes. Rightio. My 3 votes are very, very similar, but I just want to throw these ones out. First and foremost, one vote. Adelaide Crows, 15 goals straight you kicked on the weekend. That's the record. In the entire game of the entire AFL, VFL history, no team has kicked 15 goals straight. Best start to a game ever. So for the Adelaide Crows, magnificent football. That's what we like to see. And anybody out there who doesn't like seeing goals kicked and wants the slow, the game where everybody sits on top of each other's head like Jamie does, you can get stuffed because goals get the girls. Simple as that. Rightio. You want to talk about who's going to be getting the girls as well, or the guys, depending on how you float these days, is my 2 votes. Young forwards in the AFL, key forwards in the AFL. We've got Kajitsky from Hawthorn comes out with a bag of 5. You've got Mr. King up there in Gold Coast. Can I say he's cracked another 5? And then you get Riley Thilthorpe. What a name. If he's got a lisp, I really feel sorry for that kid. To come out what you did on debut and not get the Rising Star nomination is a disgrace. But yeah, awesome. I just love forwards kicking goals, big boys, because it used to be the small ones, the big boys, all they were going out of the game as of a year or two ago, and now they are coming back. So big Betty King up there, awesome stuff. Is it Batch or Ben? I can't tell them both, mate. The Gold Coast one, all right? And my third is, it's already been brought up, but the whole ANZAC round, how it was completed, how it was staged, every club, just respectful across the board. We do it better than no other sporting code in this country. It was awesome to see, regardless of any game that you went to, from the players to the administrators to the supporters who went. You should be very, very proud of the way that you handled yourself, and that's why we live in the single greatest country in the world, which is Australia, because these people are past and present have put their lives on the line, so we can do things like this. So
this podcast,
exactly
chat.
right. So,
yep.
Good to see.
I want to quickly just say, how good is it having some Port Adelaide supporters join me on the chat? I just love it. I look over there and I'm seeing straight hate for the Adelaide Crows. I just love it. Thanks, Nick. That's great to see. I love it. Anyway,
do you reckon that they've just got like recreation time at the moment? In prison, like they've asked there for the recreation time between 8 and 9.
So we've got Melbourne supporters on our chat as well. And do you reckon they've just maybe put the snow chains away for the season and just decided to stay around in Melbourne for this winter?
Yeah, well, they're going to have 2 bad years in a row. Mount Buller. Last year was because of COVID, and this year because Melbourne's going to be there. All right, so you know what that means? If we've had the 3 votes, that means we're going to get old Barras out. He's picked up the phone. He's about to rip it out. Here we go. That's the intro music.
That's the intro music. Yep, that was good though.
Wrong one. We'll do it again. Here we go.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weakest piss.
Just never gets old.
Joel, you can get stuffed.
That needs.
Joel can get stuffed.
That needs to be. That needs to be into a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We might find that out. All right. Can I go first with this one?
Sure.
All right, let's go. Oh, professionals. Ha, 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 ha. Coming from the bloke who's on his 56K dial-up modem and his Amstrad 246 monochrome monitor. Okay. Right. One vote is for the Adelaide Crows.
Oh, you took mine.
How can you be 30 points up and lose against Hawthorn in Hobart?
Yeah.
Like, you've set the record score for the amount of goals kicked and you threw it away.
Two goals for the last half of the game.
How can you kick 15 and a half and then kick 2? Oh, my goodness. What a shocker. Rightio. Number 2. Number two. Yeah, No, Nixie. It's had nothing to do with Nixie, mate. Just got out coached in the second half. They're back again, mate. They're back for the second week in a row. Shit killed her. 53-point loss on the weekend. What did you serve up to your support? You're giving your supporters no faith whatsoever. You know, you had 149 less disposals. You had 56 less marks. How can you have 56 less marks? Nick Nat's the only person who should be having less marks than anybody. It was putrid what you've served up. And I look at some other clubs around, such as what the Gold Coast did on Sunday. I can't remember which day it was. And what they served up by it was just sensational. And I look at that young club and they're going to play Collingwood this weekend and they'll probably beat Collingwood.
Yeah.
That's what your club should be doing. You brought in all these older players because you think that you are ready to take that next step. Otherwise, you would have gone back to the draft and picked up a few more.
Mercenaries.
And you didn't. And, you're mercenaries. And, it's backfired big time. Your club's not standing for anything at the moment. I actually really enjoyed watching your club last year. There's nothing worse at the moment watching your club. So, to all the St Kilda supporters out there, you've gone back to shit Kilda. Simple as that.
Number 3.
Number 3. All right. Look, I think you've already mentioned it, but the West Coast, is that low hanging fruit to give them 3 votes? No, actually, you know who I'll give 3 votes to?
Who?
Actually, this is going to be a controversial one, but I'll say it. Richmond. Next time we have a big ANZAC Eve, can you show up to play the game? All right? Melbourne have turned up to play. You guys didn't turn up.
Oh,
It's a disgrace.
The cheek.
It's a disgrace to see what you guys brought to Anzac Day. All right? Absolutely disgraceful. All right? Can you do something better? You're supposed to be the three-time premiership team. Putrid. By the way, so can I just say something? I'm absolutely loving this at the moment. We've got Tommy calling Sydney shitney. We've got the Purple Rain calling West Coast wet toast. This is just getting, if you've got any more, throw them out. And by the way, Buzz, you reckon this is going to come back to haunt me? At the moment, I don't care because it's not going to be your mob who's going to be haunting me.
Melbourne.
Oh, lid's off. I don't care. Lid's off. I haven't even spoken about the lid. The lid's off.
April premiers.
I don't care.
You don't care. I don't care.
It's a great feeling. Wankers with anchors. There we go. Oh, the wankers with anchors. Oh, this is gold. The wankers with anchors. The Fremantle Dockers.
All right.
They've even called it. They've even gone, all right. Okay, Jade, I'll give us your three, mate.
All right. My number one vote goes to Adelaide as well. Peps, but for different reasons. The way they handled the sub was probably one of the most... I reckon I could have got ready for school faster when I was like 15 years old. Like, you had Sam Jacobs just sitting there in the back row, not ready to go, didn't have his sneakers on.
That's like...
They're flying in now.
But do you know what that cracks me up with that,
What's
J-Dog?
that?
And Adelaide came out, no, we planned that. What, you planned for somebody to get injured in the last quarter?
Who didn't have the jumper on, was wearing their runners, not even their footy boots. Absolutely nothing ready to go. Had to get strapped. So whilst their player's already off injured, the sub is down the rooms next 15 minutes to get himself ready.
He said he was warming up, taking his painkillers. Oh,
it's a shocker. It's a shocker.
It's gold, isn't it?
Come on, Adelaide.
And to make it worse, he's a redhead.
Come on, Adelaide.
Tommy Lynch. Mind you, he actually, I think that Tom Lynch did more than the Tom Lynch did it for Richmond.
Well, as someone said, Tom Lynch is a super sub for Richmond.
Super dad.
Collingwood, come on, new president. Don't go throwing your coach out. Don't go throwing the coach under the bus. We know it's probably going to happen. We know that he's probably going to be out halfway through the season. We know that. We don't need to talk much more about that, other than the president not being helpful. Eddie wouldn't do it. Eddie wouldn't have done this. Eddie would have protected him. Wouldn't have said, we're still going to make finals.
Cords.
Come on, Cords.
Lift up Cords.
Now, I had West Coast as my number, as my three votes for this round. So I'm going to have to change it, and I'm going to go for... I don't even know who to go for. Listeners, who should I go for? North, Tom Lynch needs to be named super sub.
No. What about Shitney? Sydney. They won't make the 8, will they?
Well, here's the thing. Look, I got that wrong, Sanjay, I said the wrong name. Here's the thing. They just are a young team, and that's going to happen. You're going to have amazing victories like they did against Richmond 2 weeks ago, and then you're going to have a fall to Gold Coast, who you and I thought were in big trouble after the injuries going up against them and all those sorts of things. So I'll put Sydney there, but I'm not fully into Peps. I'm not fully invested in my heart into that.
They've got too many kids. I think it's going to hit them hard. Like they played some cracking footy at the start of the year, but they're going to get old. But your club's done it previously with their kids. They've got tired early.
Yeah, that happens. It just happens. I don't believe it.
It hasn't happened to St Kilda because they don't get kids. They just buy old people. It happened to Geelong's young kids back in 1972.
Yeah.
Because that's
pre-war.
That's the last time they had kids. Hey, Craig, I tipped West Coast 2. I tipped Gold Coast 2 on the weekend. Tipped out. Tell you what, your footy tips, part of it as well too. So, yeah, really good. Hey, listen, can I just quickly mention a couple of things? First of all, let's throw the ladder up because there's been some interesting developments over the week. So let's throw this ladder up.
Do you have to, Peps?
I want to.
If you have
I want
to.
to.
If
I
you
want
have to.
Right, if we have to. Okay, round 6 ladder, top of the food chain, undefeated. You've got the two teams, Western Bulldogs and Melbourne on 24 points. The maximum amount of points you can have after 6 games, 24 points. A game underneath, Port Adelaide on 20. Then you've got a bunch of 3. Geelong sitting in 4th with their big percentage booster against West Coast, sitting there nicely. Sydney Swans on 16 and Fremantle. They just seem to be doing what they have to do. After their first week, Fremantle, they didn't look too flash, but they're playing some good footy. And my God, as good old David Mundy at 35, he's just continuing an awesome season.
Jesus, all hail Monday.
Tell you what, makes me want to pull the boots back on. I tell you what. Just underneath that, you've got, as we called them on Saturday night, our Bitchmond on 12 points. The Brisbane Lions, who played the Witches' hats known as St Kilda on the weekend, with 12, and just sitting out is the Adelaide Crows after they complete. Do you know if Adelaide had won on the weekend, they would have jumped all the way up to 6th.
Yeah.
That might hurt them. Got West Coast on 12 as well, 93 points. Their percentage copped an absolute hammering on the weekend. Underneath that, you've got a bucket load of teams that we don't really care about sitting on 8 points. The Gold Coast Suns, great win on the weekend. They just ran the ball so much.
Yeah.
And made Sydney look slow. And they're going to play Collingwood this week on the G. Geez, that could get ugly for Collingwood if they play like that.
Peps, just stop you for a second. Do you know what I love the most about our podcast?
What's that?
I love it when our people in the chat room are attacking each other. Like, I don't support bullying, but I love it when you're having a footy crack at each other. I love it.
No, it's not bullying, it's banter.
I love it.
Banter.
I love it.
Yep, I'm loving it. And bring it every week. Just bring it every week. Gets our chat numbers up. You then got Essendon. Hey, good week. But hey, they're young kids. They've got some good ones too.
Yep.
It's finally good to see Darcy Parish play a good game, ANZAC Day medalist. I reckon you're about 98 behind Clayton Oliver. So,
yeah.
Carlton on 8 points. They're not cooking anything. The GWS, they played all right against the Doggies on the weekend.
Where's the line? Where's the
win.
Line for you?
Oh,
Anything underneath this line? Who's not making it?
All right,
Who's not making it?
All right, so North are not going to make it. Collingwood are not going to make it. There's your bottom 2. St Kilda, they're not going to make it. Hawks, GWS, I can't see GWS making it. They're a game out, but the percentage is too far back. Carlton, not really. Essendon, their kids will burn out, but they won't be in the bottom 4, which I think a lot of people picked. Gold Coast, if they can keep the consistency up, but I don't think, but they could be 9 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
West Coast, maybe. So I think
games.
I think everybody under West Coast. I reckon the 8 is set, except for maybe Sydney and Adelaide.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting who that other team jumping out's going to be. Jumping in's going to be.
So who's going to be your top 4?
Top 4 will be at this stage. I think the top 4 will be Bulldogs, Port, Geelong. Funny enough, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, is Melbourne, especially if they win their next few games, which is very, very, very capable.
Top 4 for Melbourne. Snaps and claps.
I'm riding the wave, mate. Surf's up. Surf's up.
Exactly right. Hey, look, Richmond lost 3 out of the last 4. Should we be concerned about that? Or should they be concerned?
Nah.
No? Okay.
No, but have teams started to work Richmond out? I don't know. They got out-pressured on the weekend.
They did get out-pressured. You're right, actually.
They got out-pressured.
Outscored, out-disposalled, out-centre clearances.
They got out-Petrarched.
Yeah, wow.
Outgorned.
Salem was robbed.
Oh, yes. And by the way, I have the tin hat is not on, Donna. The tin hat is off. If everyone who saw my video on the weekend, the lid is off. It's funny because I went and played golf on Sunday morning with a Richmond supporter and he goes, Peps, simple as this, mate. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Yep.
Because you don't know how long it's going to last for. And I actually went, you got a fair point. Lid's off. Don't care.
You
Enjoy
won't
for what
lose.
it
You
is.
won't lose from here, Peps. You're in the 8 now. That's
Yeah,
it.
we're in the 8, so we've got some very winnable games against some very winnable teams. So it's we're looking good. Hey, all right, I want to bring something up for you. Something's been coming up. I was looking at the headlines. People are stealing our topics. I think last week we brought up which team would you rather be, Collingwood, Essendon, and Carlton. Do you remember this conversation that we had?
Yep.
Oh, now I see Channel 7 is saying who would they go with?
Ugh, disgusting.
Just steal our work. So it's pathetic. Couple of things I also wanted to bring up before we finish. Fremantle, by the way, they're playing some good footy. How would you be rocking up and going back thinking, we're going back home, back over to the Optus Stadium. We love it over there with our anchors and our boat people over there. Boaties, Fremantle Dockers, I mean.
Anchor wankers.
Anchor wankers, yeah. And
That for me has made my night.
The anchor wankers and played in front of a stadium with no one in there. Now, they would have thought that would actually been a North home game. But they've been absolutely smashed by 51 points. It's just that the way that they're playing at the moment. Five for Monday doing their things, but it's their kids that are standing up.
Yep.
And we've mentioned them before. Caleb Sarong is just doing his thing. Caleb Sarong can do no wrong. He's a gun. Yeah. Tabernar's doing it down forward as well too. Lockie Schultz, we mentioned him at the start of the year, was brought up on the Purple Rain, and they said, I'm not too sure about Lockie Schultz, etc. He's probably had his career best game on the weekend as well too.
Brayshaw.
Oh, don't get me started about Brayshaw.
Imagine when the two brothers are playing together over there.
Oh, I know. Which not my one. Doesn't matter. We'll get 2 first-rounders for him. But it's just like Blake Acres leaves St Kilda to go over there. He's playing some great footy. James Aish seems to have reinvented himself as a role player. He's once again going all right as well.
Oh, actually come back to Freo.
Yeah.
Where did Ed Langdon come from?
He came from Freo.
Came from Freo. Pick number 54. There we go.
Even the big fella, Sean Darcy, had 108 fantasy points on the weekend, but he's 27 hit-outs. Can't ask for much more against Mr. He beat Mr. Goldstein.
Yeah.
He's kicked his goal. He's done his job. But it's just even names like people I haven't heard much about. Ethan Hughes.
Yep.
He's doing his thing. But it's also good to see North having a bit of a crack as well too. They're going to find it different. They're playing the D's this week down in Hobart. That could be 180.
Peps, do you want to give some advice to the A-League soccer clubs, Newcastle and the Wanderers? Just for, was it the Wanderers? Was the other club? Newcastle and someone.
Oh, Western United?
Western United, thank you. That's the right name for the team. Do you want to give us some advice on how to handle a crowd when you've got less than can't say this professionally, less than 1,000 for a professional sporting league?
Yep.
Because the A-League, you
don't need all the canteens open.
Did you see the crowd shots?
I only use half as many Souvlaki warmers. All right. And
Peps,
order half as many baklavas. There wasn't even 1,000 people there.
There wasn't even 900 people. There was about 400.
Yeah.
I've seen bigger crowds during the COVID lockdown at those first few Melbourne games at the start of the year last year.
Oh, come on. I've seen more. I've seen bigger crowds at the Port Adelaide courthouse for parole hearing day. Don't you start.
Look, it made me laugh.
Yeah, it was.
A-League. Goodbye, A-League.
How can you? It just goes to show, just because it's the world game doesn't make it the best game. Whoever is running the A-League, they must have a bet. Like, how can we screw this pooch as much as we possibly can? How can we throw this into the earth?
Shouldn't have killed the NSL. Should have kept the teams.
They should have kept the active fan areas and just let it go.
No one cares about a plastic league. Like a plastic team in Adelaide. Adelaide Crows.
Okay. All right. Listener question for this week. Now, this is a listener question that, like, we've had some tasty questions so far. Yeah. But I think Jamie has come up with what I would say the question that is going to get the most, because I'll be honest, the question I threw out a few weeks ago, which was lookalikes, it fell over like Adelaide.
Hey, Peps, don't be harsh on yourself. Sydney, don't be harsh on yourself.
That was a crap one. But I've come up with a new one, consulting with you. Tell us what this week's listener question is, because I tell you what, it is going to be a absolute belter.
All right, Peps and I, we love food. We have a lot of food chat offline about a whole list of reasons, a whole list of other things. This week's listener question is, what is the best biscuit of all time?
What's your favorite? Tell me what's your favorite. I like Monte Carlos. Digestives with dark chocolate.
Look, you've got Kensingtons, you've got Monte Carlos, you can go down the old classic Mari, that's fine. You got the Milko,
the
Milko? Teddy bear.
Oh yeah. Teddy bear, yes.
Teddy bear. You've got maybe teddy bear with chocolate.
Tiny teddies, hundreds of thousands. Teddies.
Hey, Peps, you know what? You know the Macca's cookies?
Yeah.
The little Macca's cookies? They are the exact same flavour as tiny teddies.
No.
Go check it out, my friend. It is the exact same recipe.
Hey, what biscuits would they be getting at dinner time in Port Adelaide prison?
No, would be probably having a
little
port, a bit of cheese, maybe a bit of blue cheese, because we're high class. We're high class.
We the captain's thins. Cheese. That's what we have in Melbourne.
Oh, the captain's crackers.
We have Ritz and Sayos.
Oh, good one.
Now we want to hear what your favourite biscuit is. Tell us what your favourite biscuit is. Okay,
and you can go sweet and savoury. We don't have to just have one. We can go chicken crimpy and we can go chicken crimpy and
Tim Tams.
Tim Tam.
Love a good Tim Tam. Probably Tim Tams is that they've gone a little bit. They've gone like AFL
Tim Tam,
because the standard Tim Tam. But then when they tried to get fancy, like there used to be ANZAC round, and then they had all these other rounds like the Tim Tams. They started with one, and then they've got too fancy, and it's just lost its meaning.
Yeah. Yep. Look, this is a conversation that is either going to
Nick Thiel, the Tim Tam with a coffee, the Tim Tam Slam.
Nick from the Porches podcast.
I thought that was a dance move in Port Adelaide, the Tim Tam Slam. Okay. Rightio. So, look, one thing we've mentioned previously on the podcast before we wrap this one up is that we are hosting our first ever listener survey. So we want your feedback on the show, what you like about the show, what you'd like to see more of the show. So it's actually going to be going live. So in the show notes tonight, and we'll put it up on the Facebook page, will be a link to a survey. We'd love for you to do us a favor, spend 5 minutes going through it and then just going all the way through it. Sorry to laugh, but our US friend Craig Wessels has no idea what we're talking about when we're talking about Tim Tam slams and everything. It's a biscuit, mate. It's a biscuit. All right, it's a biscuit. Well, just look up a Tim Tam and you'll salivate.
Just Google Australian biscuits.
Google Australian biscuits, Tim Tam Slam. You'll love it. But we've got our first ever listener feedback. So we're going to leave it up there for a couple of weeks. Please fill it in. It's going to give us an opportunity to find out what you really like about the show, what you don't like about the show, and what you'd like to see more of, so we can tailor and make this show better than anyone else out there, outside of your own ones, of course, too. So we'd really appreciate that. Just takes 5 minutes and it would make a massive difference to us as well. I also have one other thing. A couple of weeks ago, we had a giveaway, if you remember, for a Sharon football. Well, I got a message from our winner the other day, and here he is with his brand new Sharon AFL football. Look at that brand new red Sharon set all the way courtesy of Sharon. So thank you very, very much for that. He's also got his mask because he's in Perth. So he's like, I wanted to go for a kick, but I had to do it with a mask. Imagine getting a brand new footy, about to walk out the door, 3-day lockdown. You'd have to go down the hallway, wouldn't
you? Pretty much. Watch the holes in the wall.
Watch the holes in the wall. So
watch the cherries on the hole.
Wanted to share that with you because it's really nice to see that, the viewers getting something for what they get. So it was awesome to see that prize going out as well too. All right, J-Dog, anything you want to quickly? I remember as part
Sharon
of that, go on to Sharon. Get onto the Sharon page, sharon.com.au. Put in lace out in the checkout. Get 30% off a new pill. Fantastic. Do it. What else, J-Dog? Anything else you want to do before we wrap this bad boy up?
No. Listener question is live on the Facebook side already, and we will be posting up the survey as quick as a flash as well to get your feedback. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, everybody's out there. This has been an absolutely massive episode of Lace Out. So much to talk about. Like I said, we do it for you guys each and every single week. I'm Chris Pepper. I'm with my co-host with the most. And like we said, if you can't see us now, we've got our beautiful Lace Out shirts on. We're in a concept stage at the moment, looking to get a few other designs. So if you can help us out with that, great. We've got a question in the feedback survey for us, but just a bit of a taste of what we might do. Might get rid of the red. I think we like it black and white.
Yeah,
more
black and white.
importantly, yeah, black and white. But J-Dog, I have to ask you the question because it's just simply this. Jamie Wallis, co-host with the most, my Lance Bass. How do you want your footy?
I like it. Lace out, Peps.
And so do I. Listeners, have a fantastic weekend. Hope your team wins. Tune in for Tipped Out later this week. And more importantly, go D's 7-0. Woo!
See you, listeners.
Yeah, listeners. Thanks for listening to our latest episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, and with Jamie Wallis, we give you your footy how you want it. Peace out.